Welcome to this another edition of Selactu on Camdis Television. Of course, we shall be discussing on two topics, given that today the National Bilingualism Week was actually launched by the Minister of Secondary Education at the level of a day in the Sanaga Maritime Division of the Littoral Region of Cameroon. Madame Lova Lyonga was, of course, in a day this morning to launch the National Bilingualism Week. Can we say, is it possible for us to have a perfect bilingual Cameroon, given that, of course, there were some years back when you enter an office, you say good morning, they will say Ifwale Aboya, and so on and so forth. Can we say today that we are proud to have that bilingual Cameroon where Anglophones and Francophones understand themselves, they can speak and understand themselves both in English and in French? Can we be proud of our bilingualism, same like that of Canada, of course, where the Canadians too are very proud of their own bilingualism? And then, of course, we shall be talking the 60th edition of the National Youth Day celebration. Equally, it was launched today in the eastern region of Cameroon, but we shall be focusing on this theme, Fête de la Jeunesse, relever les défis de la gouvernance. It's true that President Paul Biya made it clear that this mandate that he won is a mandate of the youth and a mandate for women, un mandat qui est donc placé sur le signe de la jeunesse et surtout des femmes, because we know that President Paul Biya made it clear that it will be a mandate for women and for youth. So we are asking this question: la jeunesse peut-elle donc relever les défis de la gouvernance, especially as these days we are crying this issue of good governance, bonne gouvernance partout. It's true that many people are decrying the fact that there is poor governance in Cameroon. So those are the two topics that we have for you, and as usual we have men of substance to discuss on this topic. I'll begin with him. He is a Secretary General of the PAP party, equally the publisher of the New Republic. They call him Gine Bane Elvis. Gine, we say good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Tabi. Good evening to my co-panelists and, of course, to all the viewers on Camdis Television.
How are you today?
Well, I can say I'm fine, Mr. Tabi.
How is your newspaper, the New Republic?
Actually, the New Republic newspaper, it is a, should I say, it's a venture we just started this year. This week we published our 5th issue already for the year, and I think we are on a good footing. And we are actually hoping, as you can hear from the title itself, from this name, the New Republic, we have as a vision through that newspaper to be able not just to go in for some sort of balanced journalism reporting, but also to lay emphasis on issues of governance, to see how through that same newspaper we can be able not only to propose, to contribute our own ideas, but also some sort of encourage Cameroonians in general to see how we can, as a people, fight for a better country.
We say thank you for coming, Mr. Secretary General of the PAP and the publisher of the New Republic. Equally with us on this panel, également avec nous ce soir, nous avons Dasseux Herman. Il est du parti Jouvence. Nous disons bonsoir, Herman.
Bonsoir à vous, Monsieur Tabi. Bonsoir.
Comment vous allez?
Non, ça va, je vais très bien. Je suis là, Monsieur Daz, je représente le parti Jouvence naturellement. Et c'est vraiment...
Et comment va votre parti?
Non, le parti se porte très bien naturellement. C'est vrai, vous savez, dans chaque maison, il y a toujours des petits trucs, mais dans l'ensemble, la situation, la structure est assez stable.
Equally with us tonight, we have our man Jean-Baptiste Alois, to whom we say, of course, good evening and welcome. The man of the MP3 political party, we say good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Claxon. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to the million of televiewers out there watching us all over the world. It's always a pleasure to be in this panel, to be part of this this platform where Cameroonians are given the opportunity to be edified on very pertinent issues surrounding the growth of our nation. So it's an occasion for me to really thank the management of Cam10 TV, who doesn't spare any effort to accompany all political parties and all opinion leaders to really help sensitize Cameroonians and building that republic we all aspire for.
It's true that you had a wonderful ceremony on Saturday in Yaoundé, where you distributed some cards to your militants, new militants of the party?
Exactly. Last Saturday at Kolfulu, we had the official launching of the Federation of the Forests, and this was an opportunity for all the party leaders who were available to come and really work together, talk, share their opinions, and share the vision of the party with all the sympathizers and militants who were there. It was a wonderful event, and we thank God and we thank all the population of Kolfulu and all the sympathizers and militants of the MP3 parties around the Fundi who were massively present for this event.
We say thank you for coming. We are equally, any moment from now, we shall welcome, of course, the man from our wing. Is a chief, of course, they call him NS Akufo. We cannot talk media consultancy for the past 25 years without calling the name NS Akufo. At one moment, he wanted to be Secretary General at the level of the National Football Federation, FECAFOOT, but he is one of the biggest fans of the Indomitable Lions, believe me, when it comes to football. NS Akufo has just joined us. The man from our week, we say good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Tabby Clarkson, and good evening to the millions of viewers of CAMDIS television, the Republican television, and I say good evening to my co-panelists.
It's a pleasure for us to have you, NS Akufo. We are beginning with you, given that you had the mic a while ago. I am talking of Mr. Jean-Baptiste Alois. Tell us, can we say, we are starting with our first topic. Can we say the youths of today can better manage things? They are first of the country when it comes to good governance?
Of course, this is that's $1 million question, and for us youth, you know, young people are the engines of change, and in a system where it's characterized by traditional structures of governance, there is a need for a revival. There is a need of giving another form of governance that is more credible and that is much more attuned with the needs of time. The young people are not only talented; they are full of energy, they are full of creativity, and they are they are very much available and have that desire and concern to participate in nation building. And it's become a song. It has become a song within our nation and within the world to say that the young people are the future of the nation. But we have been singing this song for years now, and we tend to consider it more as a slogan or instead of a philosophy that can be applied. And that is exactly what the vision of the MP3 party is, to make sure that young people who are really much more connected or much more affected by policy decisions taken by bad governance are being implicated. We feel that we will not be that kind of young people, that generation of young people who lament about bad governance, who lament about poor infrastructures, who lament about lack of opportunities, would like to take our destiny in our own hands and make sure that in the different spheres of governance within our country, we participate. We participate in the different quarter consultations, we participate when it comes to municipal or legislative elections, and we participate when it comes to presidential election. And we feel that with the know-how we have, we embody as young people, with the availability, with the energy we have, we can resolutely and more efficiently contribute to the governance of our country.
NS Akufo, the theme this year chosen is Youth at the Heart of Great Hopes for a united, stable, and prosperous Cameroon. But our team that we are asking the question to know if the youths of today can better manage their affairs when it comes to good governance.
Thank you, Tabi. I want to start by who is a youth in the Cameroon context, because if you want to look at the UNESCO context, we know what the definition is all about.
Well, what is the definition then?
I'll leave that to the owner. But I want to look at the Cameroon context because for the Cameroon context is a state of mind.
Yes.
Right? It's a state of mind because you have people like.
So, Ernest Akufo, do you still consider yourself as a youth?
I'm a youth. according to the Cameroon context. Yes, because if you want to look at the UNESCO discrimination, which goes from the tender ages right up to 32 years, where they consider as youth, but in Cameroon, do you think a youth at 32 can be given power? President Biya had power in those days at the age of 30. Yes, but today it's rather unfortunate when you look at the government, which is made of octogenarians. Do you think that they easily relinquish power? They cannot. Because when you pose, coming back to your question proper, when you begin to say whether the youths are, they can pilot the affairs of the state, they are capable, yet the opportunities are not given them. Yes, even when the president says he has provided 50 billion for the youths and the women, do you think the youths, they'll be able to get access to that money? Because when you get to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, there are projects there which have been lingering and for long. You have the PAGE-U, the PIFMAS, and all the like. Have you ever seen somebody who has gone through with the PAGE-U project? You write a project, you bring it, okay, it's 5 million, they'll give you 1.5 million. And when they give you, after maybe a very long period of time, do you think you still have interest in that project? The money will be used in doing something else than the project you wrote, because it cannot even start the project. So, as per whether they can be given the opportunity, yes, if they have the opportunity, they'll do it. Some have proven
But
it.
we have seen the youths of today, some are interested in alcohol, others in funny things.
Tabi Clarkson, do you
hate
know
speech
why?
and so on and so
Do you
forth.
know why youths of some youths, please,
Yeah, some youths, of
yes,
course.
have developed interest in deviances,
No.
societal deviances? It's because some of them have been frustrated. The president said it. Yes, he said it. I know your frustrations. It's because they are frustrated that they get to doing unorthodox things. Some are drug addicts. Some are, let me not be calling the names because it's horrible. When you look at the society today, you begin to ask yourself, where are we heading for? Because the situation is horrible. When you look at what is happening out there, most of the youths now are indulged in get rich quick. Vivre heureux et vite mourir. Why do you think so? Because of the frustrations. When you from the primary, which has been reduced to 6 years, you go to the secondary 5 years, high school 2 years, university 3 years, maybe you get right to a professorship. We saw professors, university professors, who went marching in front of the Ministry of Higher Education some years back, I think last year, because of frustration. After you have sat on the benches for almost 22 years, yet you are not gainfully employed.
Is it because we are frustrated that we have to become a drug addict?
Tabi Clarkson, I would say the French would say tous les moyens sont bons pourvu qu'ils soient efficaces. Yes. Because when you have nothing at hand, anything that comes, you embrace, thinking that you get something from there. Why do they take drugs? To get courage and harass people, to steal their money. They take drugs because they want to hide their frustrations. Because immediately the drugs are over, you see, they become something else. So they are drug addicts because they are frustrated. And an idle mind, Tabi Clarkson, is a devil's workshop. Do you know that? Because if they were gainfully employed, they will not get themselves involved.
They still cannot employ everybody.
Yeah, it is but true. But
They still cannot employ everybody.
has the state created the enabling environment? That is the $1 million question. It is just of recent that there is an attempt at the professionalization of university education. Because when you keep training people to come out to be historians, to be geographers, well, geographers again, it's possible.
So historians are no need to train historians.
You go teaching, you must only teach. But you must train the children such that when they get out from the university, they are self-employed. When they're self-employed, they will not indulge in all the deviances we are seeing all around. Yes, but when they come out from university, then they're struggling to get into the school of administration. They're struggling to get into a school of a polytechnic and all the like. Whereas if the universities were professionalized, within their 3, 5, 6, 8 years of university studies, they come out like professionals. They come out with startups where they could already put up a structure by themselves. But when you join the whole bulk and you just give them general education, permit me to call that. What of that? Is there any purpose for that? I didn't see anything for that.
Okay.
So it is high time. The Youth Day is coming. You talked about the theme that it is doing, maybe empowering the youth. That's just cheap talk, though. Cheap talk.
Ok. Herman, le thème cette année, c'est Jeunesse au cœur des grandes espérances. Pour un Cameroun uni, stable et prospère. Est-ce qu'aujourd'hui, la jeunesse peut-elle donc relever les défis de la gouvernance?
Le Copernicus a apporté des arguments très pertinents tout à l'heure, celui aussi de la droite. C'est tout ce que les Copernicus disent, c'est en fait il n'y a que de la vérité dans ce qu'ils sont en train de dire. Et ce que je vais faire maintenant, c'est ajouter une autre dimension de cette vérité, à savoir que lorsqu'on parle de gouvernance, on parle de l'affaire publique. Et quand vous regardez la structure qui gère le grenier du Cameroun, est-ce que vous voyez un jeune là-bas?
Mais il y a les jeunes dans l'administration.
Dans la défense, est-ce que vous voyez un jeune?
Il y a quand même les jeunes dans l'administration.
Non, lorsqu'on parle d'administration dans un pays, on parle de la structure qui gouverne les points de souveraineté. Parce que c'est les points de souveraineté qui déterminent. Quand vous voyez le débat qui se passe actuellement dans le monde, on ne vous parlera pas des petits ministres, on vous parle de la défense, de l'économie. Donc, soyons pertinents quand on est... Donc, pour revenir à ce que je voulais dire, c'est que quand vous regardez les postes de souveraineté, quand vous regardez les lieux de souveraineté, les lieux où la vie du Cameroun se décide, les lieux où la vie du Cameroun est la plus sensible, vous vous rendez compte qu'il n'y a que des gens de plus de la soixantaine. Ouais. Donc, ça veut dire que lorsqu'on parle de gouvernance, on a exclu la jeunesse de facto dans la réalité. Donc, quand vous êtes dans une approche réaliste de la gouvernance, vous vous rendez compte que sur le terrain, on a exclu la jeunesse. Et donc, lorsqu'on pose un thème comme ça, c'est un leurre. Peut-être, à mon sens, on pourra parler des jeunes qui font dans l'informel. Peut-être, à mon sens, on pourra parler d'eux. Comment ils managent au quotidien leur vie, comment ils managent leurs employés. Quand je parle des jeunes, je vous parle du segment, disons 40, 50 ans, hein, je me situe là. Prenons la cinquantaine jusqu'à la vingtaine. Voilà. Et même là, vous voyez qu'ils ne s'en sortent pas. Moi, je connais beaucoup d'entrepreneurs actuellement qui ont des problèmes avec les impôts. Ils travaillent, ils versent l'argent, ils ne s'en sortent pas. Donc vous comprenez que, au-delà même de la dimension proprement gouverner la chose publique, même au niveau privé ici, où ils peuvent se battre, il y a un certain nombre d'éléments qu'on a mis qui ne permettent pas aux jeunes de pouvoir s'en sortir. Sinon, pourquoi les jeunes sont en train de partir dans les pays à l'extérieur? Les gens veulent voyager. Demandez aux jeunes là, s'ils veulent voyager, ils vont vous dire. Mais vous comprenez que tout ça, il est à la gouvernance. Quand vous voyez les gens...
Mais vous êtes là, vous n'êtes pas encore...
Non, mais moi, je suis là parce que... On ne m'a pas encore proposé l'opportunité. Je n'ai pas encore l'opportunité et j'ai encore... Bon, et au-delà de ça, de cette affaire d'opportunité, j'ai des... on ne va pas faire un débat de personnes sur ma personne parce que moi j'ai d'autres choses qui n'ont rien à voir, qui sont liées à ma tradition. Donc ça, c'est un peu culturel. Oui. Donc, mais restons dans l'aspect purement public. Donc vous comprenez que des thèmes comme ça, ce sont des thèmes... Pour moi, c'est un peu de la moquerie. Donc c'est comme ça que je vais conclure ça, en disant tout simplement, en répondant à l'affirmative que la gouvernance, la jeunesse ne va même pas être dans le débat de la gouvernance.
But they used to say that the leaders of today, the youth of today are the leaders of tomorrow. Man, don't you think so?
Et dans quel espace d'expression ces leaders vont s'exprimer pour qu'on puisse apprécier leur talent? Vous allez vous exprimer ou quand vous n'êtes pas capable de succéder au ministre, ou bien quand vous n'êtes pas capable d'être initié au poste de ministre.
Mais il faut quand même dire qu'il y a les jeunes qui sont dans l'administration.
Oui, mais ces jeunes-là sont des jeunes cooptés, même qui ne sont même pas en train de faire leurs preuves. Parce qu'il y a toujours leurs parents dans les postes de souveraineté. Mais regardez les postes de souveraineté au Cameroun. Vous-même, regardez. Je n'ai pas besoin de citer. Vous-même, quand je parle de poste de souveraineté, vous comprenez ce que je veux dire.
Oui, justement.
Regardez ce que c'est qu'un poste de souveraineté. La défense, l'économie, qui a moins de 60 ans. On comprend donc que ça, c'est un gouvernement qui a exclu normalement et simplement les jeunes. Dans la réalité.
Nous reiterons toujours qu'il y a les jeunes dans l'administration. Mr. Secretary General of the PAP, the publisher of the New Republic, you have made it clear that your paper is not there to only give us news, but equally to talk about good governance and so on and so forth. So this year we are talking the Youth Day celebration, which is coming up. Can we say that the youths, we can count on the youth when it comes to good governance in the days and maybe in the years to come?
Well, Mr. Tabi, if you are asking if we can count on the youth, maybe I will be answering you. I will be asking questions and answering them.
Yes.
Are they capable? Are the Cameroonian youth capable of taking over the governance of this country? I would say yes. Are they well armed to be able to handle those responsibilities if they were given them? I would say yes. Do they have the opportunities to have access into governance? I say no. The people who are on seat, like others have said, are all octogenarians. People who have taken the state hostage and think that after them it's a vacuum and no one else needs to get closer to the rims of power in this country. And like my brother was rightly saying, we cannot talk about the youth and we think that we are going to govern Cameroon only through themes, only through slogans. When you hear the themes that come out every week, especially concerning the youth are the heart of great hopes. Not just hopes, they say great hopes. Great hopes in a country where there is no industrialization, where there is total unemployment. Great hopes in a country where schools are surrounded by bars, places where children only have access to alcohol and drugs. Great hopes in a country where ministers embezzle only in terms of billions, and the state tells you that they have reserved 50 billion for youth and women. And like someone rightly said, where have we gone with the 3-year triennial plan where they earmarked 102 billion francs? How far did they go with that? When they leave from 102 and they drop back to 50, how far are they going to go with it? When you and I know that the 50 billion they are talking about is not going to be decentralized, it will be concentrated in Yaoundé, and they will expect that young Cameroonians who are living in Furawa should write projects in Furawa and send to Yaoundé, and someone deciphers whether they will have $1 million in it or not.
But there is decentralization now, Mr. Secretary General.
In paper, we say yes, there's on the paper. But in reality, no. And I want to come back to the theme itself. When we talk about youth at the heart of great hopes, then they talk of united and a stable Cameroon. Mr. Tabi, let's go back to the history of the 11th of February in this country, the day of the plebiscite, and find out why it was changed from plebiscite day to youth day. It was because they were trying only to frustrate and hide a certain reality about the history of the country. And it is catching up on us back today again. So every year they want to come up with wonderful themes that in reality do not translate into anything, because even the youth who will go out there tomorrow and they are celebrating the 11th of February, many of them don't even know what they are celebrating in reality, because the real history of their country about that particular day, they don't know how it started and they don't know how it changed.
That historians are not important people.
He didn't say historians were not important, but that it will spend time training most of our children to be historians. They only end up being teachers, and you cannot develop a country only with teachers. We need people in the field of technology. And like you asked in your question, if it is that field of technology, yes, we have them. But how or what opportunities do they have to be able to get into governance?
We were talking about history a while ago.
Yes, I was saying that when you even look at
February?
Yes, when you look at what went with the theme, that was about a united and a stable Cameroon. How united are we today? and how stable is Cameroon today. Let's forget about Boko Haram in the north, because that's an external force attacking our country. But look at the northwest and the southwest. Let's look at Cameroon as a whole. Look at the issue of hate speech. Even political parties have been created deliberately in the country to divide the people, because parties are created and they act as though they were tribal entities or regional things, all in the hope of dividing the people to better reinforce power in the hands of those who are there. So we cannot talk about unity in this country as it now stands. We cannot talk about stability in this country as it now stands. But the truth is that we keep using these themes because the youth, the children of today don't understand that history, because we have not taught them the reality of what that 11th of February was all about. So what I'm simply saying, Mr. Tabi, is that
the youth are not,
Mr. Tabi, I would always like to say that when we talk about blaming, I always like to use this French saying that c'est tout poisson pourri par la tête. It begins from up there. It begins from the educational system. But who are those to craft and carve out the educational policy? It is the state. It is the government. Okay, imagine that we are in a country where a child goes in for religious studies, what we call moral education. And at the end of the day, the state tells you that they cannot recognize it as a subject to offer you a job. It means they are simply saying they do not want people who are morally upright. They want moral decadence. And that is why, of course, you see, even on official situations, we have seen the state of Cameroon, we have seen officials promote what they call influencers, who come from Europe and exhibit themselves in public nakedly, and those are the type of people you see paraded on national TV, than go for young Cameroonians who have something in the brains and can sell something that can change the image of the country. So you understand that the situation in which we find our youth today is a situation in which I would say it is deliberately carved out by the regime in place to constantly tell that you are not yet responsible enough to take over power, so that they stay there. But we should not forget that when Mr. Ayicho took power in this country, he was 36 years old, and all the ministers that are there today, more than 80 years of age, they were 27, they were 28, they were 30 years of age when they came to power. But when you are 40, when you are 50 in this country, they remind you that you are still a youth, you are still irresponsible, you still need time. So, Mr. Tabi, this is just to say that it is not like the Cameroonian youth do not have what it takes, but that the people that we have in government have seized the realms of power, they have colonized it, and it has become a personal, private affair, and they manage it the way it fits them. And of course, when they are no longer there, you realize that when we talk about even government reshufflement, that we are waiting the government, I don't know till when. It is either a recycling of the same old people who have failed in different ministries, they recycle them, or when someone dies, they go into his family and they look for a son of his. It remains within the same circle of friends.
Don't you think that before you criticize the new government, which is coming,
for 43 years, Mr. Tabi, what I would
you should wait for it?
We are waiting, but I will tell you that what can surprise me is if the new government is a good one. Because we already know how it's going to look like. The only surprise can be if that new government is one that actually gives room for the youth and the women, like the head of state announced. He said in the days ahead, in his end of year speech, this is the month of February already. We are still waiting for those days ahead. And we know how Cameroon is.
We are still in the days
Our
ahead.
national anthem, permit me say something. Cameroon, land of promises. We have been living on promises that have never been fulfilled in this country. He has promised a new government ever since he swore in, and we are waiting.
We are still in the days ahead. There is no problem.
Of course, tout au Cameroun est fait progressivement, comme je disais là.
Et un progressivement qui n'arrive jamais.
C'est pas le problème.
It's true that we are moving forward this time. Looking at the team, we are seeing this united and stable for a prosperous Cameroon. It's true that everybody has to work for peace. Everybody has to work for this unity, especially the youth, Alois.
Exactly. We as I usually say, if there is no unity, if there is no peace within the country, the young people are those who are mostly affected by whatever comes out of that. And there is more need for young people to get more and more involved in platforms and situations that generate peace or that favors peace. And that comes to the implication in decision making. It's quite unfortunate that in a country where over 60% of its population is made up of the young people, the representation of young people within the government, we are talking about it, and also all the rest of the instances of governance within the country remains negligible. So, first of all, who is supposed to be blamed in this kind of atmosphere? The government, of course, the policies that we make, we promote, as my brother was saying, we tend to promote trivialities instead of equipping our young people to be conscious enough to take their destiny in their hands. I think, I'm tempted to believe that it's a policy to put in place deliberately in order to maintain themselves in power. Because if the young people were equipped with a system of education that brightens their mind, that teaches them that you are responsible of your own future, I think by now we'll get more and more young people involved in politics, involved in decision making, and actively working towards the manifestation of peace and unity within our country. I will talk about the situation of frustration that the president rightly said in one of the recent speeches. He perceived the frustration among young people. He said we have been shouting and crying that our brains are being washed out because evaporates to the west, because we young people tend to more and more go in for greener pastures in Canada, in America, anyway, abroad. And what about those young people who find their way back home and who would like to bring back the know-how they received? They would like to bring out the experience they received from abroad. They would like to participate actively to the governance, to the development of our country. Are they being given the opportunity to do so? It's quite unfortunate that no. Just to get, I will talk about something that is personal for me. Just to get a certificate of equivalence.
Are you saying that a youth has never been appointed somewhere? Must a youth only be minister?
On vit ça chaque jour.
Must a youth only be
I think if you have an example, you can give it to us. If you have an example, you can give it to us. If you have an example, you give it to us. How many? He was talking about post of sovereignty. It's not about being a simple subaltern in an administration that will give you opportunity to really change this country. We are supposed to trust the government, or the public decision makers are supposed to trust this young generation of Cameroonians who are being imbued with that spirit of patriotism. Some have left comfortable position abroad and have willingly come back to our country to develop the country, to participate in nation building, because they have seen, many of us have seen out there what countries who are not as rich as we have, as we are right now, what they are able to do with the resources they have. And we have seen, and we would like to bring that know-how, that experience back to our country, to develop our country. But the possibilities, the opportunities given to the young people to really participate in governance and bring about peace and stability within the country are limited. But we will not keep crying. We have a slogan in MP3, it is our moment. C'est notre moment. It's we've been crying a lot that we are not given the opportunities and all that. We have decided, and we call on young people to decide to take their destiny in their own hands. It's not about waiting for appointments. It's about bringing the change in all possible manners, in all units you find yourself, as a person, as a quarter, and as a party. And we think that this comes through the cooperation of the current government that needs to ease more and more the possibility for young people to get a more integrated in spheres of governance within our country.
When there is life, Ernest Akufo, there is hope, certainly. Hope maybe for a better tomorrow, hope where we shall see youths, of course, in many positions of responsibilities. And of course, we are talking this good governance. There is hope for a better tomorrow, Ernest Akufo.
When there is life, there is hope.
It's a joking too.
When there is life, there is hope. But do you keep hoping against hope? Yeah. Because when you say when there is life, there is hope, yes, no doubt. But do you keep hoping against hope? Because for the majority of youths, start with the youths in Cameroon, they are hoping against hope. Because day in and out, they keep getting unfulfilled promises. Tabby Clarkson, what is 50 billion to Cameroonian youths who constitute about 60% of this country's population? And we know how that money shall be managed. Thank God there is one university professor, Professor Victor Mbarika, who said nobody should steal a franc from that money. Because he knows the people who steal the money. Tabby Clarkson, you just hear 50 billion. You never have an account of how that money was managed. Because presently, some people are already chopping from the money in the name of building files. So, how do we hope? Yes, hope is the lone thing which keeps us alive. But do we keep hoping against hope? Is the $1 million question. Like you said, the theme was talking about a united and peaceful Cameroon. That's all cacophony, no? It's cacophony. Are we united? Are we at peace? You saw what happened the post-elections period. Why? Pose yourself the question, why did what happened after the post-election period happen? I'll not answer that question. It's rhetorical. When you pose the question to yourself, you introspect, and then you look up yourself in a mirror, you'll get the answer to that question. Do you think presently Cameroonians are happy? Cameroonians are in pain, deep pain. But because of the autocratic nature of the governing class, nobody dare cough. Yes. People are grumbling in pain down there.
Ils sont méchants.
Because when you get up to say, no, I don't need this, away with you. God forbid. So when you see people sit in their air-conditioned offices and craft such things, Tabby Clarkson, let me bring back something very realistic. You talk of the youths not being capable or being available to work. How on earth can one minister be ruling 2 ministries out of a population of 30 million Cameroonians? You want to say, this my dear brother cannot handle a ministry in this country. Tabby Clarkson cannot handle a ministry. My dear brother cannot handle. And then talk less of Ernest Akufo.
You have been campaigning since
yes.
You really want to.
Tabby Clarkson, they don't write a public entrance exam. They don't write a public entrance exam to the country.
Non, le problème du Cameroun, ce n'est pas la compétence. Il y a la compétence, mais le problème, c'est la capacité des gens à vouloir rester là toute la vie. C'est ça le problème.
Parce que c'est inimaginable que dans un pays de 30 millions de têtes,
il n'y a pas des intelligences.
Il n'y a personne qui puisse remplacer un ministre démissionnaire ou décédé. Il faut qu'un ministre puisse gérer 2 ministères. Ça, c'est impensable. C'est une aberration.
C'est voulu.
C'est une insulte à la jeunesse.
That will be another topic for another day. We are talking of this team that also talks of this unity, talks of this, especially the Northwest and Southwest. For example, there is hope. Hope that one day there will be peace there again.
Yes, but do you know something? There can never be peace without justice. Underline it. There can never be peace without justice.
Exactly. C'est clair.
Why are the people of those 2 regions, the Northwest and Southwest regions, suffering? They are suffering because there is no justice.
C'est clair.
Because if there were justice, their claims would be attended to and peace will reign. But since the bitter pill is being forced down their throat, how do you want them to be at peace? And we make peace. We don't give peace, Tabby Clarkson. Jesus alone gave us his peace. Then we mortals, we're supposed to make peace. Are we making peace? We are not making peace. Because each day, we get the hate speech all about. And do you know why hate speech is all about the place? Because Tabby Clarkson cannot be eating fat, going in flashy cars, being in air-conditioned office, gainfully employed, and then the majority are wallowing in poverty. So I'll be clapping, Tabby Clarkson, that is very good. That is the emanation of hate speech. Yes. Something needs to be done. You say we should hope. So we keep hoping against hope. Okay, the president told us to hope for the new government in a few days. We are a few weeks gone. We are a few weeks gone already. And we are a month gone.
Few days.
On attend. Et on va continuer à attendre.
Thank you.
Et l'enfant naîtra.
Thank you, Ernest Akufo. It's true that we don't have much time. We are concluding on this topic because we have 2 topics. Certainly, the way forward, Eman, what do you think should be done to actually maybe put the youths into this issue of governance, good governance that we are talking every day?
Ils n'ont qu'à laisser la place, c'est tout. Il n'y a pas de débat. Regardez le Burkina Faso. On parlera, ce sujet a tout son présent dans le Burkina Faso. Vous comprenez? Il faut être clair, il faut pas... Ça ne sert à rien que... on nous a exclus du débat. On nous a exclus de la gouvernance. Dans ce sujet, il est bien quand on est au Burkina Faso, parce qu'au Burkina Faso, il y a des jeunes personnes qui sont dans la structure publique. Il y a des jeunes personnes qui sont dans la voiture qui décide. Vous comprenez? Donc, moi je dis, je suis clair. Nous, on est clair. Le parti où je viens, les responsables sont des jeunes personnes. Le plus âgé chez nous a 45 ans. 45, 46. Donc il y a les vingtenaires, il y a les trentenaires, il y a les 19 ans. Donc on parle de jeunesse. Il n'y a pas de soixantenaires dans notre parti. Du moins, à ce que je sache, ils ne sont pas nombreux. C'est un parti jeune. Et c'est un parti qui peut bien...
Est-ce qu'il faut donc exclure les vieux?
Non, il ne faut pas exclure les vieux, mais les vieux doivent rester au conseil. Ils ne doivent plus aller prendre des postes où ils doivent décider. Parce que quand le vieux est au niveau de la décision, il prend lentement ou il ne prend même jamais la décision. Et lorsque vous ne prenez pas une décision...
Dans votre parti politique, c'est comme ça?
Non, dans notre parti politique, c'est très dynamique. Il n'y a pas de... C'est pas comme ça.
Non, vous dites que les vieux n'ont pas de place là-bas, c'est ça?
Non, les vieux dans notre parti sont au conseil. Ça veut dire qu'ils donnent des conseils. Mais ce ne sont plus des acteurs actifs. Ça veut dire que quoi? Ça veut dire que nos aînés doivent comprendre qu'ils ont fait ce qu'ils pouvaient. Maintenant, ils doivent passer le flambeau. Comme ça se voit dans les autres pays où on a besoin de vitalité. Le monde, l'univers fonctionne avec le principe de l'énergie. Lorsque vous êtes un État et que vous ratez ce coche-là, vous êtes hors du jeu. Vous ne pouvez même pas parler de géopolitique. Vous ne pouvez même pas parler dans le monde. Vous ne pouvez même pas décider. Parce que c'est ceux qui ont l'énergie, qui ont la vitalité nécessaire pour prendre les décisions.
C'est ceux qui ont la sagesse aussi décider.
La sagesse peut appuyer l'énergie. Regardez un jeune, par exemple, qui est expérimenté et puissant. Il est plus productif qu'un vieux qui est expérimenté, qui n'est pas puissant. Parce qu'on sollicite simultanément deux éléments pour avoir un niveau très avancé. Donc, on n'est plus... Moi, je pense que, vraiment, nos aînés doivent être conscients des enjeux au niveau international et comprendre qu'ils doivent passer le flambeau dans de bonnes conditions. Ils doivent permettre à la jeunesse d'être dans ce débat. Mais pour le moment, la jeunesse a été exclue.
Non, la jeunesse est dans ce débat. Il y a les jeunes qui sont dans la gouvernance. It's true that maybe youth are not
encore qu'ils sont choisis et à des coins bien limités, pas ce qu'on connaît.
Il y a quand même les jeunes. Il y a quand même les jeunes dans l'administration. Mr. Gina Bade-Elvis, what is the way forward as we conclude on this topic?
Way forward, Mr. Tabi, I think that our octogenarians who have been there for 40, 50, 60 years, they need to understand that retirement from service is not a sanction. It is a change of service. Once you work, there is a time for retirement. And when that time comes, you give room for the younger generation to take over. And of course, we should also understand that when there are certain spheres of governance that once you have attained them, you don't even go for retirement per se. If you take our head of state today, if you take the president of the National Assembly or the Senate, even if they were to officially resign and other younger persons take over power, the truth is that we will always go to them to consult, for consultation. When you were there, how did you handle this? But they must not be the people to sit there before they want to think that things can move, things that have never moved for the past 43 years or so. They need to give room. That's the first thing. Secondly, they need to understand that, like my brother was saying, the national debate on issues of governance and decision-making, the youth need to be fully implicated. Take note, Mr. Tabi, that 90% of Cameroonians who are out of the country in the diaspora are young people. Many of them left out of frustration. Remember that official statistics tell us that within the first 6 months of 2025, last year, first 6 months, that's from January to June, 10,335 Cameroonians landed in Canada. I mean, the first 6 months, 10,335 of them. So what about the last 6 months of that same year? What about the other previous years? Why are the people going? When you look at the previous years, a family used to sit and they send one child out, hoping that one person would change the situation back home. But do you know what happens today? You go to embassies, you go to airports, you find a man, his wife, their 6, 7 children, all struggling to go at once. It has now become a family reunion out of the country. Why? Frustration, bitterness. We cannot build a country by technically sending away all our youth. Secondly, come to think of it, the prices of the passports have changed from 50 to 110, from 110 out of a sudden to 155. But the number of people demanding the passport only increases. It tells you that something is wrong somewhere, somehow. Exactly. Secondly, the youth who are out of the country, many of them have acquired skills. But we also know that for them to acquire skills and be able to work that way, they needed different nationalities to have access to certain places. And they are willing to come back into their country. And then you talk of the issue of the dual nationality. Why not give them that room to come back into their country and be able to invest, to bring back the know-how that they have gathered from elsewhere? You understand that all are strategies that are put in place to keep the youth out of the discussion table and give the impression that they are not available, they are not willing. There are thousands and thousands of them out there. Though some are still going, but there are thousands who are willing to come back. But what opportunities are we creating for them to come back? Let this government simply give room for that dual nationality. And believe you me, some don't even want to come to get into the government itself, because we should not also talk as though it's all about getting into maybe appointed offices. No, there are people who are willing to come here and establish businessmen and other issues. But now, what about the taxing system in our country? Why not go for a broad-based tax system where you can drop the taxes, promote more people to grow? You will come to think of it, you start a small business with a 10,000 francs, a 1 million francs capital, they kill you with taxes. On a daily basis, you have 3, 4, 5 different people coming to you, impôt libératoire, impôt ceci, impôt cela. They don't give you room to establish a business, run it for 6 months, 1 year before you start paying taxes. They make sure they nail you the very next day. They see your doors open. These are things we are criticizing, and we are saying that when we talk about youth being involved, it's not forcefully being appointed into government. No. There are different areas where people can excel. And most of the people who are living, Canadians said something, Mr. Tabi, officially. Remember, Nigeria used to be the first African country supplying workforce in Canada. As of last year, Cameroon became the first. And what was the advantage they took? The second topic we are getting into, bilingualism. They say Cameroon readily provides for them people who are ready for work. It means that the people go there qualified.
Yes.
But within their own country, they are not tapped. That potential is not tapped. Within their own country, no opportunities are given to them.
There is hope.
Mr. Tabi, like someone asked a question, shall we keep hoping against hope? Look at the number of teachers who desert the country every day to go. Why? Because their conditions are miserable. I keep saying on your platform here. Of course, Mr. Tabi, I have been teaching. I have been teaching, Mr. Tabi.
Il faut être clair sur ces choses. Même si lui est là.
Mon frère, ça fait 22 ans que je suis dans l'enseignement. So when I keep talking about teaching, I know what I'm talking about. I say go into the private sectors. People are paid fully for 6 months. The other 6 months, they don't have a franc. So when they pay you fully for 6 months, and let me just assume you're at a 180, 170 for 6 months, you need to know how to manage it for the other 6 months when you will not receive a salary. Go to the primary sector in the private. There are people who earn 25,000 francs a month in Yaoundé. How do you survive on 25,000 francs? And our ministers will come and tell us that with 35,000 francs, people can earn a living. And like Mr. Akufo was saying, he who is saying that has cars, has a free house, free bills, everything, he has never bought a kilogram of meat in the market, because at the end of every month, the government supplies meat in his house, they pay his bills for him, he doesn't pay rent, they fuel his cars, they do everything for him. So it's but normal for him to cross his legs in his air conditioning office and tell that with 35,000 francs we can survive in Cameroon. These are the things we are saying. We need to understand that the Cameroonian youth have the potential.
Thank you.
They can integrate, they can work, they are productive, but they need the opportunities that have been totally taken away from them.
Thank you, Mr. Publisher of the new.
Moi, je connais au moins 4 personnes qui viennent d'ouvrir des petits trucs. Hein. On les a bombardés avec les taxes. On a même scellé certains. À peine ils viennent d'ouvrir, je vous dis que je connais personnellement. Une personne que je connais personnellement. Si on sort là, vous allez voir là un petit restaurant. On a commencé, on voulait sceller son restaurant. Ils ont même commencé à faire le procès verbal de sceller. J'ai seulement fait interposition avant que. Mais ils veulent qu'elle vienne payer à la mairie. À peine elle a commencé son truc. Et ce n'est pas un cas isolé. C'est pas un cas isolé.
Et on ne sait pas si tu as prêté de l'argent ou bien.
Ok. Thank you. Je voulais quand même vous rassurer, Eman. que moi je suis encore ici parce que j'aime le Cameroun. Hein? Oui. J'aime mon pays. C'est pour ça que ce n'est pas une histoire d'opportunité.
6 millions, comment vous mettez 6 millions sur...
Je suis encore là parce que j'aime le Cameroun. Okay, we shall move on to our second topic. Of course, we are talking bilingualism. The National Bilingualism Week actually was launched today in Edea in the Sanaga Maritime Division of the Littoral region of Cameroon by Minister the Prophet Nalova Alionga. It's true that I will begin with you this time, NS Akufo. We are talking bilingualism. At least, can we say that is it possible to have a perfect bilingual Cameroon today?
Talking about the perfect bilingual Cameroon, Tabitha Clarkson, I don't understand what you mean by that. But, yes, I don't understand.
Très intéressant. Fixez le curseur. Dites-nous.
Bilingualism.
Yeah, because, first of all, what's bilingualism? Yeah, Cameroonians, we say Cameroon is a bilingual country. But contradictorily, not the people in the country are bilingual. So it is Cameroon which is bilingual, but the people in the country are not bilingual.
Yes.
Because why do I say so? There is no official policy for bilingualism.
How can you say so?
Because people will tell you a bilingual Cameroonian is he who understands one of the two official languages, which is either the French or the English language, speaks in the other one. Whereas that is a fallacy. It's a fallacy because I'm getting back to your original question. Yes. You see, big officials, state functionaries, they will tell you, no, bilingualism is when I understand in one of the official languages and answer in the other. It doesn't supposed to be that. It's supposed to be you speak both languages and you understand both languages. But it's rather paradoxical that there are people who never speak the other language.
But how can you say there is no policy? It's true that we have a commission that was set up by the president of the Republic.
I don't want to be critical. I don't want to be critical.
The Anglophone crisis.
I don't want to be critical on that commission. And mind you, it is written commission, right? They have been commissioned.
Yeah,
they have been commissioned.
Of course.
Yes. So they don't take decisions. They report to somebody, and the person can take a decision or cannot take a decision. So when you say
they have been commissioned, are you saying that they're not doing their work?
I am not an insider.
From the observation,
okay.
You as an observer.
Yes, from like an observer, I would say it's not commensurate, right? Their work is not commensurate because we expected them to be in the regions, in these divisions, in the subdivisions, and why not in the local councils? We should feel bilingualism. We should not see that it is written bilingual. No, sir, it doesn't work that way. And when you look at the billboards around town, most of them are still in one official language, which is the French language. Because some people jokingly say Cameroon is a French bilingual country. Did you hear that?
What does that mean? French bilingual?
French bilingual country. Well, in my small interpretation, of that, I want you to think that because all official texts are produced in the French language before they are translated into the English language. And you know, in translation, there is when you already translate something from one language to the other, the sense in it is different. I'm a translator, I know what I'm talking about. The sense is different. It doesn't have the original idea of the person when he or she conceived that idea to send it out. So you are just doing something approximate.
So what to do now to have this perfect bilingual
to have perfect bilingual Cameroonians? I think the minister, with the launch of that program, that is one of the steps, because you take it to the people. Take the policy to the people. And of recent, we see bilingual schools. I mean bilingual. Did you hear that? Bilingual schools are created all over the place. But when you get into the schools, you have two subsystems of education.
Independent systems.
two subsystems, and that is not a bilingual school. We have one bilingual school in Yaoundé, government bilingual practicing high school, adjacent Enam. That is a perfect bilingual school. What happens there, Tabi Clarkson? They teach you mathematics in the French language and in the English language. They teach you history in the French language and in the English language. It is not only teaching you English and then teaching the other one Francais. No, sir. That is not the meaning of bilingualism. The commission should take note of that and go around the so-called bilingual schools. They will see that there are two subsystems. And even the pupils or the students in the school, they will hardly interchange. And then when they want to interchange, they speak the Camfranglais. They will blend the English and the pidgin language. That is not bilingualism. So I want to propose that the official bilingual policy must be revisited and then enshrined in the constitution, because it is only written Cameroon shall be a bilingual country and this is French and English. No, sir. What are the other accompanying measures? What qualifies you to be called a bilingual Cameroon?
You have never said yes, sir. It's only no, sir. So to you, everything is only no. Nothing is moving.
No, Tabi. When it is yes, I say yes. But unfortunately, the yes are very rare, right? So the no are plentiful and need, which means it calls for attention.
Okay. Mr. Jean-Baptiste Alois, what is your take? What to do to have a perfect bilingual Cameroon?
We need to have visionary leaders. Visionary leaders in the sense that the bilingualism has to be implemented in a methodical manner, because this is a very sensitive aspect, a peculiar aspect of our nation that needs to be handled technically, and that could be a real factor of unity in Cameroon. The differences we are having between the people we call Francophones and Anglophones is basically that language. Because if we go to cultural areas, some of the Francophone zones, as well as some of the Anglophone zones, are culturally bound together. The only difference they may be having is the fact that one is an Anglo-Saxon region, and the other one is a Francophone region, which is the problem. So we propose this. We should have a system, a unitary system of education that binds together the Anglophone system and the Francophone system, and taps also within our cultural heritage and bringing, hyping some of our mother tongues and bringing about a uniqueness of Cameroonian identity. I think if we had leaders, and we still hope we start having some, if we had leaders 43 years back, or even some more, who thought that we inherited, through our post-colonial identity, we inherited English and French as being medium of expression. But before that, Cameroon had local languages. And if we have inherited these languages, we can't do away with that. We need to work on that to work about our unity. So we propose a system of education that is unitary, that brings together the English and French system in a perfect manner from the very base. And this will go through a long way. 10 years after, we will be entering ministries where you can boldly and efficiently have a conversation with any civil servant or any Cameroonian in both languages. And this will go, and these reforms should go in all dimensions. I know the Anglophone system and the Anglophone system and Francophone system also harbor some judiciary differences, as well as some other differences in a very sensitive aspects of our nation. But I think with the experience the current regime should be having, I think they must have gathered enough experience to come out with a unique form of Cameroonian identity that both gives the advantage to those who were originally, let's call it that, Francophone, from the Francophone zones, and those who were originally from Anglophone zones, to be able to communicate in both languages without any issue. I think since our independence, we are more than 50 years of independence now, we haven't been able to bring up this system that could be a very, very much advantage for all Cameroonians in the world. We haven't been able to bring it to all Cameroonians to enjoy that. We have tried, I think in recent years, more than 10 years now, we've brought a system of education that is unitary, bilingue, sixième bilingue. But how effective is that? In most of those schools where we are talking about the bilingual system of a hybrid system of education that is bilingual, mostly you will see that the francophone system is dominant. And the students who come out of this kind of system have some time and a very huge handicap to express themselves in the other language. So if from the very base a philosophy is taught, that is a vision, maybe we start with a precise curriculum in the nursery, a precise curriculum in the primary, we grow with this kind of system and we provide space for it even in the university level, I think we'll go a long way to train bilingual Cameroonian. I will not need to talk about the Anglophone zone and the Francophone zone. We'll talk about Cameroon, and that will be a major factor to bring about unity within our country.
Est-ce possible d'avoir un Cameroun parfaitement bilingue?
C'est une évidence que ce n'est pas possible pour plusieurs raisons. La première, moi je dirais qu'il y a l'héritage colonial. Parce que les Camerounais viennent d'abord, ils ont d'abord leur culture. Et assimiler deux cultures comme ça qui entrent, c'est pas évident. Il y a d'abord, quand vous voyez le Boulou parler l'anglais, vous sentez qu'il parle l'anglais, mais il est d'abord Boulou. Quand vous voyez le Bamileke parler l'anglais, ou bien le nordiste parler l'anglais, il parle l'anglais ou bien il parle le français, mais vous sentez qu'il est d'abord son identité. Ça veut dire qu'il a d'abord la difficulté première de parler l'anglais comme un anglophone, ou bien de parler le français comme un francophone. Ça veut dire qu'il y a d'abord ça. Et maintenant, par la suite, il y a la capacité de chacun. Il y a des gens qui ne peuvent pas parler plus de 2 langues. C'est vraiment une affaire de que ne forcez pas. Ça, c'est les capacités intrinsèques. Il y a des gens qui ne veulent même pas faire l'effort de parler plus de 2 langues. Bon, maintenant, le troisième élément que je peux ajouter, c'est que notre pays souffre aussi il y a une certaine, comment on dit ça, quelque chose qui n'est pas net, à savoir que il y a moins de francophones, il y a plus de francophones que d'anglophones. Ça fait en sorte que s'il faut appliquer ou bien s'il faut pratiquer un système qui nous amène vers un anglais, disons, parfait, un bilinguisme parfait, il faudrait qu'on essaye d'appliquer un système uniforme dans toutes les régions. Vous voyez? Sauf que quand vous regardez le pays tel que c'est structuré, ce n'est pas possible. Vous voyez, comme le frère a dit tout à l'heure, il y a des superpositions. Ici, par exemple, il y a un système francophone. Il y a un système anglophone d'ici. Il y a un système anglophone de l'autre côté là-bas. Donc, vous comprenez que pour toutes ces raisons-là, ce n'est pas très évident. On ne peut pas appliquer, ou bien on ne peut pas faire un bilinguisme parfait au Cameroun. C'est impossible. Dans la pratique, vous n'avez qu'à observer dans la société. Je vous donne un rendez-vous même dans 10 ans. Si on est dans les mêmes configurations, dans les mêmes réalités, vous n'allez pas créer avec les mêmes...
Même dans 10 ans, ça ne peut pas changer.
Mais tant qu'on est dans le même système...
Je ne peux pas faire les efforts.
Mais je vous dis ceci, écoutez-moi bien, je dis ceci. On est dans un système. Il y a l'héritage colonial. Il y a ce qu'on a continué avec. Ça veut dire 2 régions, le reste 8 régions. On va fonctionner. Comment on va atteindre un bilinguisme parfait avec ça? Ce n'est pas possible. La preuve, c'est que depuis qu'on nous a donné ça comme héritage, on applique ça. Ça a changé quoi? Et vous croyez que dans 10 ans, si on est dans la même situation, ça va changer quoi? Donc, il faut donc créer donc quoi? Pour arriver à ça, il faut donc créer quoi? Un système éducatif, à mon sens, où dans toutes les régions du Cameroun, on apprend obligatoirement les 2 langues dans toutes les matières de la même façon. Et ça demande beaucoup une logistique, ça demande un grand travail, ça demande même aux gens.
Ça demande beaucoup de moyens.
Ça demande même aux gens d'aller même...
les moyens que les gens découvrent.
Ça demande même aux gens même d'aller même consulter l'ancestralité des gens. Vous croyez que c'est facile pour un gars bêtis de parler sans son ton ou bien... Quand je vous parle l'anglais, si je parle l'anglais avec vous et que je n'ai pas l'accent par exemple, de mon frère ici qui fait les efforts. Parce que les efforts que mon frère ici fait, moi, peut-être, je ne suis pas à ce niveau. Je parle, par exemple, comme un bon Betty, par exemple, ou bien je parle comme un bon Bamleke. Vous aurez peut-être du mal à comprendre l'anglais que je suis en train de... Pourtant, on parle... Bon, en fait, pourtant, je me bats. Donc, vous comprenez qu'il y a des tas de raisons qui font que ce n'est pas, dans la pratique, ce n'est pas évident d'atteindre un bilinguisme parfait. C'est pas...
Can we be proud already of the bilingualism nature of our country, Mr. Gine, Mr. Secretary General?
Well, bilingualism in itself, we could be proud of it, but in our context, there is nothing to be proud of. And coming back to the question you asked, if we can attain a perfect bilingual situation, personally, I would tell you, to me, I do not think that the most important thing is to attain a level of perfection.
Ah, voilà.
As far as bilingualism is concerned.
That's it.
What am I saying? What we are suffering of in this country is a tropicalized system of what was copied from Canada. What they could do is simply give Cameroonians as a people conditions. You don't access a certain office, post of governance, if you are not bilingual. Such that once you receive someone in your office, you can express yourself comfortably in any of the languages that the person speaks. It's not a matter of saying that because I understand your language, I can speak in the other language. What if you understand my language and you speak the other language and I don't understand that language you are speaking? What happens? People can be free to study both languages or not to. But for people who hold certain posts of responsibility, certain offices at a certain level of management in the country, that should be one of the conditions for which you access those offices. But like I say, bilingualism in our context, we copied maybe the Canadian model, but we tropicalized it when it came to Africa. We did it our own style. Because at the end of the day, things are never practiced here with the intention of letting Cameroonians benefit from it. I just said something here, that the same Canada says that Cameroon today is the first that provides them labor, thanks to what? Our bilingual nature. You understand that even the English and French that people learn on their own, by themselves in the quarters, permits them to gain access in jobs elsewhere. But we are not ready to do something to make it an asset that can permit us to grow. And why? Because in reality, I will tell you that even the bilingualism we are talking about here is a tool for divide and rule in this country. I was telling you a few minutes ago that I've been teaching for 22 years. Very soon I will be clocking 23 years in teaching. I am into school administration. Do you know how, like Mr. Akufo was saying, talking about schools that they call bilingual, but within the school you have two independent subsystems? Do you know how my francophone students refer to me? Le principal des anglophones.
Alors?
Because deep in their subconscious mind, I'm not their principal. So when I'm talking, or when they want to make allusions to me, they say le principal des anglophones. I'm not their principal. I'm the principal of the anglophones.
Anglophone.
This is to tell you, Mr. Tada, that there is something deep in our roots that we need to go back to it and review if we think that things must move the right way in this country. You cannot claim you have a bilingual school simply because there's an anglophone system in it and a francophone system and you call it bilingual. There's no bilingualism there. Let's stop fooling ourselves. And you mentioned something here, of course, which is true. The Bilingualism Commission that was created to solve an Anglophone or the Anglophone crisis. Were they actually creating that commission to resolve a Cameroonian problem or the Anglophone crisis? Because if it was created to resolve the Anglophone crisis, it was a failure from beginning. Because I don't think that the real issue in this problem of Anglophones, Francophones in this country could be solved by the Bilingualism Commission that was created. If we really want to solve the problem in the Northwest and the Southwest, let's go back to 1961. We dig from the roots and understand where things went wrong, and we see we can correct them rather than creating the Bilingualism Commission in the name of resolving that issue. And ever since it was created, I think 2017 or 19, I don't know. From that period to today, what problem have they resolved? What have they concretely proposed? Do you know that there are ministries in this country that when you go into them, it is publicly written that French is spoken Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and English is spoken on Thursdays? So you speak one language 4 days out of 5, and you speak English 1 day out of 5, and that is the bilingual country where we are told that the two languages are of equal status. But I said they put it publicly in a ministry that one language is spoken 4 days out of 5, and the other one is 1 out of 5. Now that 1 day, go there and even find out if they speak that language on that 1 day. So we should stop trying to always put ours. And like I said, we live in a country where we feel that we can do everything through slogans. We come with wonderful slogans every year, wonderful themes every year. We keep relating, translating, and everything. But in reality, nothing is concretely done on the ground. If we come back to the Ministry of Secondary Education, Madam, the Minister was in the Littoral, as you said, to launch the bilingualism.
Yeah.
Personally, I want to tell Mr. Tabi that I laud the efforts of the Minister, what she's doing to transform secondary education in Cameroon. That one, I clap for her. But when we come back to the issue of themes, when we talk about AI at the service of bilingualism, I need to ask myself questions. It comes to the issue of themes and slogans. How does AI concretely help us when it comes to bilingualism in our country? When even in urban cities like in Yaoundé, people celebrate a ray of light, like a rare victory of the Indomitable Lions in the major competition. So what about the remote villages where there's no electricity? How do they have access to AI that can help them evolve in terms of bilingualism? These are questions we need to ask ourselves. So you understand, therefore, that if you go by the theme that was chosen this year, then we need to question so many other things. Technology, energy. How do children in remote areas access technology, use AI, when they don't have access to energy?
Thank you.
When Yaoundé is, like I said, Mr. Tabi, just be careful. As we are here right now, these things can go off.
Thank you,
but when
sir.
it comes, you hear people shout as if the Lions scored a goal in a major competition.
Another day. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Comme si
Thank you very much for coming, sir.
Ils font semblant.
We have 2 minutes, sir. We shall
mettre à
conclude.
côté.
Sir, we are concluding. Mr. Eman, we are concluding, and we shall also show our bilingualism here on Camdis television. Maybe Emma will say something in English.
Yes, I can say something in English, but of course you can see that I'm not perfectly bilingual. So I try my best.
Thank you.
So it's not good because I can say something, but I cannot say more.
Thank
so
you. At least you have said something already.
It's not good. It's not bilingual. Yeah.
Mr. Ernest Akufo, we shall also. We know that you are a translator, but at least say something.
Le bilinguisme, c'est un atout pour le Cameroun et pour les Camerounais. Parce que on a tendance à dire que c'est le Cameroun qui est bilingue et non les Camerounais. Et ça demande beaucoup d'efforts pour que les Camerounais deviennent bilingues. Tantôt, mon frère disait qu'il fallait nommer des gens parfaitement bilingues au poste de responsabilité. Je pense que ce sera l'une des décisions, la meilleure des décisions, afin que les gens s'efforcent pour apprendre la langue anglaise et la langue française.
Thank you. Yes.
Je dirais qu'il faut même aller un peu plus. Si le bilinguisme devenait un prérequis pour entrer même dans le service public, ça devait vraiment être un moyen majeur pour pouvoir promouvoir le bilinguisme. Et déjà, on loue l'effort de tous ces francophones qui font l'effort d'apprendre l'anglais et tous ces anglophones qui font l'effort d'apprendre et s'exprimer en anglais.
Merci.
Ok, oui, je dirais comme M. Akufo que le bilinguisme, on pourrait dire que c'est un atout, ou encore disons que ça pouvait être un atout. Malheureusement, on n'a pas pu exploiter cela. On voit d'autres pays en profitent et tirent nos ressources, alors que nous-mêmes qui sommes soi-disant bilingues, on est incapables de pratiquer ce bilinguisme à notre bon effet. Donc je pense juste simplement qu'il va falloir que les autorités camerounaises puissent revoir cette conception du bilinguisme et voir comment vraiment l'implémenter. Pour que quand un Camerounais passe n'importe où, souvenez-vous, M. Tabi, que même au niveau de la justice camerounaise, c'est un problème sérieux, surtout avec les anglophones, surtout avec la crise anglophone, où les gens sont jugés dans une langue qu'ils ne comprennent pas. Et finalement, même si quelqu'un se trouve devant un juge, et au finish, il ne sait pas ce qu'on a dit. Donc, je pense que le bilinguisme, pour nous, on a encore trop de chemin à faire, M. Tabi. On a encore trop de chemin à faire. Et je pense que quand on parle, j'espère pour une fois que nos autorités peuvent au moins nous écouter et pouvoir revoir ce que c'est le bilinguisme dans ces pays et ce qu'il y a lieu de faire.
C'est un sujet qui est lié avec la gouvernance. Parce que toutes ces choses-là sont liées.
Merci mon frère. Merci. C'était pour prouver que nous tous, nous pouvons
on peut s'exprimer en les deux langues.
En anglais et en français. Nous disons merci. We say thank you for coming. We take another appointment for tomorrow when it will be 6:30 p.m. in Yaoundé. We say thank you to all our technicians. We say thank you to all of you who took time to watch the program Celle Actu today. We take the rendezvous, as I said a while ago, tomorrow when it will be 6:30 p.m. Till then, we say may the Almighty God continue to bless the Republic, as we all say, Ubuntu.